Hello guys, we are going to be reacting to what if you got eaten by titans, also known as kaijus, monsters, monsters, and other stuff, but they call titans.
In the past, Goji Center.
Oh yeah, it was also done by Goji Center, so shout out to Goji Center!
Has covered dozens of ways in which several creatures could eat a human being. But today we're going to showcase a much different experience. Getting eaten by titans. In this episode we have...
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, don't watch your swallow eating. You know, let's see, it's very disturbing. And has lots of gore. Naguchi Center has been in hot water about its real villain. They reuse stuff or make shit up to make it more gory. I don't know. I'm not justifying Goji Center, but I'm also not saying it's true. I like Goji Center. All I know is I like him. And I like the voicer, he's pretty good.
Pre-selected a total of 6 Monsterverse Titans to illustrate the unique experiences that a human would go through if they ever got unlucky enough to find their way into the mouths of these hungry monsters. The journey through each Titan will be different, bringing different levels of pain, damage, and duration. Some of the stuff you're about to see will be a bit disturbing, so if you like this sort of stuff, make sure you follow or subscribe to be the very first to witness more kaiju.
So I think they should make a part 2 with 6 other times, like Iron Dragon, Skarkin, Shimo, Malfra, you know?
New carnage. Coming up, the literal journey inside the mouth of a Monsterverse kaiju. Before we cover our first Titan, let's first talk about how you now have the opportunity to play as these kaiju in World of Effect, and also bring Gip Subtles to the committed contender mode. Our test subject's journey through a monstrous digestive tract will begin as soon as you're acquainted with the type of kaiju we're dealing with. In these simulations, we are well aware that some test subjects might not even make it to the creature's stomach alive. But to ensure that they make it as far as possible, our kaiju will be instructed to swallow and not chew our
yo, Swallow Man, what the fuck?
test subjects. Doing so would render this episode down
I don't know, maybe I'm fucked up, but every time you choose one with decapitated head, it looks tasty, it makes me want
to just a minute. Where's the fun in that? To begin, we will study a Titan who is anatomically similar to us humans, in the fact that the skeletal and organ arrangements very much resemble our own. Number 1. Kong. Our first test subject will be dropped inside Kong's mouth.
I kinda like the way they animate the Titans in this video. In 3D and 2D, they're pretty cool.
While this happens, we will analyze closely what happens during its journey and find out how long this person can stay alive for. Kong's build is very similar to us humans, with a digestive tract that includes the mouth, esophagus, stomach, large and small intestine, etc. It is what happens in these locations that we will follow closely. In Kong's Skull Island, we witnessed a crew member fall into the jaws of this massive Titan. Note that this...
Okay, I wanna start by saying...
And we witnessed a crew member fall into the jaws of this massive Titan.
I wanna say, I don't think Kong is an asshole. I just think Teenage Kong is an asshole.
Note that this Kong was just a teenager, meaning that it was much smaller than our present-day Kong, which measures somewhere...
Which I know I'm gonna be called meme for, but teenagers are assholes.
...around 335 feet in height. You're about to find out that getting swallowed by this larger Kong will allow you to live a little longer. Let us explain. Once dropped inside the throat of this massive kaiju, it would probably only...
Now, to be truthful, science is more of what we should know, not what we could know, in my opinion. And you'll find out after first.
It'll take you around 8 to 10 seconds to fall all the way to the bottom of Kong's esophagus, accounting for all the friction you will encounter while sliding. You are rapidly running out of oxygen and inhaling toxic gases that are found inside the digestive system of organisms that actively eat a variety of food sources, methane and sulfur. Inhaling these gases will cause irritation to your eyes, lungs, and breathing too much methane will cause you to throw up. But you're still alive. You will now land into Kong's massive stomach. At this point, you could technically be considered as a bolus, a chunk of food that is entering the gastrointestinal tract. And you're in for a beating. Stomachs such as these have a mechanism on the stomach lining that pounds food in an attempt to break it down. But you're too small to be broken down. During this horrific, dark experience, your presence triggers the hormones to release acids to start breaking down your body. How fast? Well, given that Kong is a carnivore...
Yeah, I hate that part. Kong, as a character, is a gorilla. Gorillas can eat... Most gorillas eat only fish. And I get he's basically human. You shouldn't be able to eat veg and meat. I don't know, some versions of Ghidorah, there's some versions of which can, us being able to eat both. And
or that eats raw meat, its stomach acids need to be strong enough to break down bacteria and pathogens that are ingested. This hydrochloric acid in smaller creatures would be comparable to car battery acid. But you're now getting showered by this stuff, meaning that this overwhelming amount of corrosive material would eat through your skin in a matter of moments. Your outer layer of skin is gone, and now it's eating into your flesh. You're dead at this point, with an estimated duration of around 1 to 2 minutes. Eventually, your body would turn into a pulp and be digested along Kong's long intestines. Believe it or not, this is the longest you will last inside a kaiju digestive system. Coming up, a similar but very quick journey through a hypervorous creature. Number 2, Skull Crawler. We have covered what it would feel like to get eaten by a skull crawler before, but this time you're getting swallowed, and we'll go into a little bit more detail.
This was one of the worst sacrifices in the monsterverse. He didn't even throw a grenade in the mouth or distract him, he just died to be killed.
This skull crawler we have here is a juvenile, although...
I'm fine with people dying for no reason in these movies. But still.
Smaller, these are all capable of swallowing an average-size human whole. But how long can this victim survive? Let's find out. Unlike Kong, the digestive process of these animals is a lot different than your conventional eat, digest, poop cycle.
Okay, how big do you think Kong's shit is? I'm gonna go sus first, but I think it's probably around to Ceratops.
As our test subject travels down the skull crawler's esophagus, the human will find it ever increasingly more difficult to breathe oxygen thanks to the gases emitted by this creature's stomach. Shortly after, this guy will fall into a stomach full of green bile, ready to digest the proteins found in your body. Keep in mind that this green bile will most likely be already present, ready to digest you.
Oh, it's here for my arrival, is it? Oh, thank you, Skullcrawler.
The reason is because there is more than likely other stuff inside already being digested, since these animals are hypervores. Animals with a metabolism that demands that they must always eat. An animal with such an...
Well, you talk about me after I get munchy bugs.
Instincts will be forced to be on the lookout for the next meal at all times, inducing stress. So it just so happens that animals that are going through stress will regurgitate their food, or in other words, spit it back out to focus their energy on hunting or fighting instead of digesting, as a way to relieve itself of the bulk of its meal. So you've made your way inside the stomach of the skullcrawler. This green bile washes you with corrosive agents so strong that it dissolves your skin and flesh, similar to what happened in Kong's stomach. The difference here is that after your flesh and organs are all digested, you will be vomited. We are stepping into the realm of speculation, but it is likely that juvenile skullcrawler digestive systems are incapable of digesting bone.
I just can't believe Loki is a part of lots of us. When's he gonna go? Oh, disappear the skull crawler when it tries to jump, and I'm like, well, forward to it slowly.
Causing them to spit you back out in order to possibly relieve themselves from any extra minute, since the concentrated bile would expel enough toxic gas to knock you unconscious. Either that, but it did, you will.
Why not just give it a battle? Like nature, have you ever thought of just giving it a battle?
Be vomited. We are stepping into the are incapable of digesting bones, causing them to spit you back out in order to possibly relieve themselves from any extra weight so that they may hunt their next prey. The amount of time that you were alive in this skull crawler would probably last just under a minute, since the concentrated bile would expel enough toxic gas to knock you unconscious. Either that or you suffocate.
At least you go death speed right now.
Once pushed into a mush of half-digested carcasses in the skullcrawler's stomach. At least you made it halfway through the digestive system. Your trip through the next Titans will probably end a lot faster. Number 3.
This is actually what made me fall in love with monsters. Rodan is just, in my opinion, so interesting. And it made me wonder, how would someone like Rodan live? Like, I'm not a coach, sir, but I would love for them to do a video because, well, if you ever felt like sick and you feel so hot you can't move, yeah, imagine literally being on fire.
Rodan. Up next, we encounter a Titan whose biology will make it a lot more difficult for you to survive an extended trip down this animal's throat. Now, if you know anything about this monster, you will recall that this creature can thrive in superheated biomes, and as far as being biologically volcanic in terms of anatomical composition. Yes, the big Angry Bird's temperature skyrockets above the previous Titans, matching the temperatures seen inside volcanoes. Well, how hot are these? Magma is said to reach up to 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. In order to give you an idea of how hot that is, it takes temperatures of 1600 degrees Fahrenheit to burn a human to a crisp.
How do we know it?
Assuming you stay inside the fire, which will be your case inside
I just love
Rodan's body.
Look how crisp his tongue is, look how much folds and crisps inside of it.
19, we witnessed this pilot get eaten by Rodan. But how long did it take for this dude to die? Let's find out. As we drop our test subject inside Rodan's mouth, we start noticing that he starts to react to the intense heat. Rodan's fleshy tissue is resistant to these intense temperatures, but yours isn't. In a matter of moments, your body begins to literally cook while you're still alive.
I mean, it's good. You did order a 5-course meal.
Making contact with Rodan's esophageal walls, for instance, will be like making contact with lava itself, causing instant third-degree burns all over your body.
Stop whatever you're doing! How do you pause recording? Seriously, how do we know this? I love, I love Goji Center, I love Ghidorah, but still.
That's a little bit of tidbits for you.
Good news is that you don't feel third-degree burns because the nerve endings get burned as well. But the edge of those burns are excruciatingly painful. Your journey sliding down through Rodan's esophagus will end.
Bro, what the yes haircut?
Early, since you probably won't make it anywhere near this animal's stomach before turning into burnt matter, making your trek last just around 10 to 20 seconds. Your body was too small to maintain its integrity all the way down this animal's esophageal tract, leaving you more burnt than that well-done steak you ordered last Saturday night. The next Titan might do the same thing to you, but with different means of doing so. Number 4, Monster Zero. After providing absolutely no nutritional value to Rodan, and we are now about to find
What? The 5 stars and you tell me it's nothing?
Find out if our next test subject will suffer the same fate or be useful at all to our next kaiju, Monster Zero, or Ghidorah. We have witnessed this guy eat someone before, but fortunately for her, she most likely died upon impact, sparing her from what probably followed after. Before we throw our dude through one of these throats, let's take a quick moment to understand something very important: this kaiju's biology. The composition of this kaiju has lots of traces of aurum, or gold, and it just so happens that
humans are physically addicted to gold when they find one. I wonder, imagine if a human What dress would they kill Ghidorah to hollow out its insides?
This material is a perfect conductor of electricity. In addition to that, it is said that this kaiju had electroreceptor molecular biology, transferring currents everywhere. This is seen in how electricity seems to make its way throughout all parts of this creature's body. Consequently, it is only feasible to think that someone dropped inside the mouth of Ghidorah would only survive for a few seconds before succumbing to the energy levels running through his body, almost as if every
Very likely
surface of this animal's esophageal tract was a taser, meaning that any muscles would contract all at once, and the heart stopped as a result of the excess in electricity. And in some cases, people who are exposed to shocks like these will sometimes urinate or even defecate themselves in the process.
Come on, Ghidorah didn't order his meal. You're literally poo-pooing in his mouth. What the fuck? Man,
we'd like to think that your roller coaster journey through this tract will last no more than around 5 seconds. If you think about it, that is a very long time getting shocked from all directions. Your body may or may not make it to this creature's stomach, if it has one, depending on how much of it disintegrated during the trip down. If you think this happens too fast, wait till you see what happens to our next test subject. Number 5, eaten by Mechagodzilla.
Whoa, God, Mechagodzilla's a robot, isn't he?
This is a titan that is not necessarily built to eat anything at all, but it is good at processing anything that makes its way through its jaws. If you have seen our episodes covering Mechagodzilla, you are now well acquainted with the many weapons this thing possesses.
You know, they did a whole thing about all the way Mechagodzilla could kill you, and how it's probably can. I kind of have to agree with Gore Baton on this episode, because if he really did have a jaw which could grind up meat to the bottom of it, why didn't he bite Godzilla? Why didn't, if his hands have drills cutting Godzilla's chin off, or if his tail is strong enough, if he has rockets, why didn't he use it more? Like, you wanna know something? The original Mechagodzilla has less powers. Some versions give him more, some versions give him less. But at the end of the day, Mechagodzilla as a character is meant to be Godzilla but with more arsenal. So he should be cheaper than Godzilla. He should use more powers. But he doesn't. In my opinion, that's not true to Mechagodzilla's character. He should be cheap.
But one of the most gruesome was its set of grinders located inside its jaw.
As Yutra said, it's not Marvel, so they don't have consistent characters.
There is no trachea to travel down, so instead we will just drop our test subject into its bottom jaw and...
As I said, science should be about what we should know, well, you know what I mean.
See what happens. These grinders are exceptionally well-purposed to grind larger chunks of meat, which makes grinding a human as if it wasn't even there. The flat surfaces on these grinders would flatten you to a pulp in a matter of seconds. This particular test subject was unlucky to get crushed legs first, meaning that
it's cool seeing Mechagodzilla covered in blood, but
he would have felt every single last bone of his body.
Don't get me wrong, humans have a lot of blood inside our body, but not that much. I think at least.
Crushed until his upper torso followed, and finally his head. The level of pain from falling in this machine would depend on what angle you fell into these grinders. If you
I don't know.
ever happen to fall into one of these, go head first. Now is time to move on to the last kaiju on this list. Number 6, eaten by Godzilla.
To be truthful here for 1 second, you ever think it's kind of hypocritical? Ghidorah's treated like a devil freeing one guy, Rodan's treated like a demon freeing one guy, I put Sean Khan freeing one guy, Godzilla's a family, kids, and he doesn't get blamed. Like, he literally, by definition, has more humans than Ghidorah did. But no one blames him. He physically has killed more humans than Ghidorah has ever done because he's been frozen. So, really, who's the real villain out of these two? Yeah, I'll let you go out.
Eaten by this kaiju is unique in that you might
Listen, I love Godzilla. I can't say he's a hero.
actually make it further down than you initially think, but it will really depend on what mood or state Godzilla is currently in. His radioactive display and burning states. Obviously, getting swallowed by the burning state only means that you'll catch fire before even making contact with Godzilla. But what about the other ones? A Godzilla in normal state would might actually make it further down than you initially think, but it will really
See, look. Now I know this isn't Adam Laser 5.
depend on what mood or
5 people. He was gonna kill 5 people, but Ghidorah kills 1 person and he straight like Satan. Rodan kills 1 person. Like, what the hell's the fairness here? Godzilla can gladly kill a whole family, a bunch of children, but he's the hero. But Ghidorah, oh, heaven forbid he eats 1 woman, but oh, God forbid. I don't mean like woman or less, I just mean like, I was the general person. It's just, I don't know.
or state Godzilla is currently in. Monsterverse Godzilla as we know him appears to have many different states. His normal, non-aggressive state, his radioactive display, and burning states. Obviously, getting swallowed by the burning state only means that you'll catch fire before
He's soft rolling Rodan.
even making contact with Godzilla. But what about the other ones? A Godzilla in normal state would still be something to watch out for in terms of temperature and most definitely radiation. Radiation poisoning will most likely occur, but that sort of damage could potentially take a couple of hours to completely kill. Now, admittedly, this is a one-of-a-kind.
Trust me, when you're in a kaiju, or a titan, or monster, whatever you want to call it, you don't have a lot of hours left.
And wild card, since we aren't completely sure what Godzilla's digestive system looks like, if he even has one. But what we do know is that Godzilla is bionuclear, meaning that the insides of his body have to be steaming hot. And there should be parts of his body that help regulate or expel that heat. Probably why he spends most of his time in the water. But anyways, let's return to our final test subject, who will be dropped inside Godzilla's throat. Here we see the human making his way down Godzilla.
No, it's not this. Why are the monsters consenting? I mean, yeah, you could say Ghidorah's so evil, he's mustache and twirling, ready to kill someone for no reason. What about calling Godzilla? Oh, well, yeah, but it's a films, so I can get them, but
his esophagus, while at the same time making contact with the esophageal walls. How hot is this place? A good reference is to compare it to the temperature of an organic cooled heavy water moderated reactor, which can reach temperatures of up to 752 to 1004 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep in mind that this is a Godzilla in a normal state. These temperatures are enough to cause your own internal liquids to boil and cook a human body alive. This, unfortunately, would be a
how? Why do we know this?
gradual process. After a few seconds, your organs, including your brain, will fail to function. Your blistered body will have made it to the next stage of this animal's esophageal tract. Whatever that may be. A stomach full of acid, a gizzard full of bionuclear flammable material, who knows? What is certain is that no human
I'll tell you what, I don't want to know.
will survive. Are there other titans out there that could provide our test subjects with a more gruesome experience? Let us know what you think in the comment section. For more content on your favorite kaiju and crazy science fiction what-if scenarios, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and support the channel by checking out our merch store by clicking on the link in the description or
This isn't official. He is making con art, ghost art, Ghidorah art, and all sorts illegally. He is... But he is doing shit that is literally illegal. So, buddy, I'm no lawyer, but I would suggest stop it.
scanning this QR code.
Like, you do videos on T-Rexes, nobody owns them.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see
I just suggest not using a Jurassic Park one.
you in the next video.
I will definitely react to guns parts. But please understand, I don't hate the channel, but I worry for guys. James! Oh, never mind, found it. See you later, guys.